Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brandon Davis. I'm the founder of the Rags to Riches community. I am highly unqualified to give you any advice about anything. I barely graduated high school. Do not like or comment on any of my videos, and please do not subscribe. Let's get to it. Dear God, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. It's been a while. I got that COVID. I've been fighting it. I've been battling it. And I'm okay. Completely okay. Shout out to Australia. If you live there, it sucks for you. Is there any coincidence that 25 years ago your citizens were disarmed and now you're having to deal with this? It's probably not a coincidence. All right. Dave Ramsey to invest in Bitcoin. And yes, I clickbaited you, put a crazy title, and now you're forced to listen to everything that I have to tell you against your will. So you got to deal with it. But there's some things that need to be said, so we're going to say them. There can't be a 1% if everyone is poor. Yeah. Riddle of the day. What do you call a lawyer with an IQ of 50? Anybody know? Comment. This is actually the first time I'm giving you all permission. You can comment with this answer. Okay, in the comments below, underneath this video, comment with this answer. And you degenerates, like I told you before, you guys use Google and you cheat. I know y'all. I know what you do. All right, you got attention-seeking behavior. Most of you do. So do I. All right, let's get into this. Dave Ramsey. Some of you guys don't know who Dave Ramsey is. Dave Ramsey is a man who has taught millions how to get out of debt. I personally owe him quite a bit with regards to what I foundationally understand about managing my own personal finances. He has an empire. I bestow upon him enormous amounts of credit. If you don't know anything about managing your own money, I don't care what continent you live on. I don't care if you're in debt, if you want to build wealth, this is a guy that you want to look at. He's going to give you the step by step. Okay? Now, with that said, let's talk about what Dave Ramsey is all about, especially with regards to Bitcoin. So let's see if we can hear this here.
Years ago, probably, I don't know, 2014, I probably spent $1,500 on buying Bitcoin, and I probably made $120,000 off of it. So it was such a small amount. I bought it and I just left it. And I never did anything with it. I know it's very risky and everything, but I didn't really put any money into it.
So he bought a bunch of Bitcoin back in 2014. I think he said he spent about $1,500 on it. All right, and he's made quite a bit of money since then, obviously.
$120,000.
120K is what he has now.
So it was such a small amount. I bought it and I just left it. And I never did anything with it. I know it's very risky and everything, but I didn't really put any money into it. What do you guys think about that?
Wait a minute, are you saying you can cash it out today for $100 grand?
For sure. Okay.
So by not listen to me just a second. Okay. There's a process in finance called sunk cost analysis. All right. Mm-hmm. And so if you don't cash it out today, in the morning you have reinvested $100,000 into Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. That should scare your brains out.
Scare your brains out.
It's not 1,500. It's 100,000. Every day you leave it there, you are reinvesting into this again.
Right.
By nightfall, dude, cash it.
Okay.
Bitcoin is
it's
going
over
bye-bye.
50% of your freaking net worth is on the roulette table.
Roulette table.
On one roll of the dice.
It's in code.
Yeah, if you really can cash it out, and you may find out that this is funny money, but I hope you can.
I hope you can too.
And
run, run away, run away
from Bitcoin.
This is one of those things, you guys, where, again, you're hearing about this stuff out there, and it sounds too good to be true. It is, and you got to be careful. You really do. I've talked to a lot of people that have been burned on this, and unfortunately have gone the route of even leveraged investing schemes, which is pulling money out of their house to invest, which is an absolute no-no. And so...
Okay. All right. So I think that these folks have made it clear where they stand on Bitcoin. And let me just point this out. There is leveraged schemes for the stock market. There is margin trading. People get wrecked all the time. Okay, but let's not go into that. Let's just continue on. Here's Dave's baby steps for folks who want to get out of debt. And again, I owe a lot to him because I didn't know anything about money. I didn't. And that's a generational thing. Lack of knowledge about money gets passed down, or I guess not passed down, for years and years and years and years. Save $1,000 in a beginner emergency fund. Well, why do you save $1,000 before you do anything? It's because when you get in the process of paying off debt and something comes up, your car breaks, there's some unforeseen tax bill, you want to be able to use that $1,000 and pay that off real quick so you don't go into further debt while you're trying to pay off your debt. So $1,000 emergency fund. Step 2, you pay off all your debt except for your house. So how do you do that? You start with the smallest debt first. You list all your debts, smallest to largest, and you pay off your debts in order from smallest to largest. So they call that the debt snowball. So you're going to get a little win, you pay off a little debt, you take that money and the money that you were paying towards debt and throw it into the next one. It's a little bit bigger. So you get these wins and it kind of snowballs. After that, you're going to save 3 to 6 months of expenses for emergencies, and then you're going to invest 15%. Okay, eventually, you save for college for your children. If not, you pay off your house and you continue to build wealth. So invest 15% of your income into retirement. These are the baby steps. This is what he sticks to. He does not stray from this. And I understand why he wouldn't want to stray from it. And I think it's his target audience are people that are not good with money. He doesn't want to make this more complicated. He wants to make this very simple, very straightforward. He sticks to the script. And I can't blame him for that. But I do take issue with how he approaches Bitcoin and how he approaches cryptocurrency, because it just seems like he just refuses to even think about it. Let's talk about, I think his name was Jacob. I could be wrong. He started, he said, in June of 2014, $1,500. Okay, ending date. If he had cashed that out on August 31st of 2021, his total return would be 7,184.365%. Annualized return 180.5% per year. The ending value $109,265. $110,000. He said 120, so the dates could be off a little bit. But about over $100,000. Now, that's over $100,000 of him not adding anything else to that account. Okay, so this is where the big disconnect comes between the old school financial system and the current financial system. Let's say that at 20, now this is his retirement calculator, Dave Ramsey's, on his website. Let's take the exact same numbers, the $1,500, and let's say instead of him investing in Bitcoin, he invested in a mutual fund. And we were kind of generous with this, about 10%, right? Sometimes it's lower. So over the past 10 or 15 years, it's probably been about 10%, 10 to 12. So he's 20 years old. He wants to retire at 27. about how much money do you currently have in investments. He put $1,500 in. How much will you contribute monthly? 0, because he didn't contribute anything to that $1,500 that he put back in June of 2014. What do you think your annual return would be? About 10%. All right. So after 7 years of growth, his money is worth $3,011. $3,011. All right, let's go back. This annualized return, Bitcoin has been averaging over the past 10 to 12 years, 10, 11 years, about 150%. Sometimes lower, sometimes higher. 150% per year for 10 years straight. All right, and that's just Bitcoin. All right, so when you look at something like this, you've got to really open your mind, and you got to understand something about humans. And if you don't understand this already, then you will now. This is normal behavior. People are not going to get into something till it has a very solid track record, decades and decades and decades. So they're going to look at something like the stock market. It's been around a long time in their mind that says, okay, that's something stable, that's something solid, that's something that I can latch onto, that's something that I can build a business off of. I think that's what Dave Ramsey's doing. But the issue with that is, if you want to play a little bit higher risk game with a portion of your portfolio, why would you not get into Bitcoin? All right. Now, let me point this out. Massive growth across the sector over the past 10 years, averaging about 15,000% per year between all the cryptocurrency models, between all the cryptocurrency projects. Let's talk about what people don't talk about. Let's talk about all the people who have invested in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in the past 4 years. Grayscale, obviously you have the GBTC Trust, BNY Mellon, and BNY Mellon is one of the oldest banks around. BNB Paribas, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan Chase and Company, Goldman Sachs, Standard Chartered, London, Tesla, SpaceX, Citibank, UBS, BNP, again, MicroStrategy. So if it's good enough for these institutions and these organizations to invest in it. Now, what do I mean by invest? They're going to make products to make money off of you. That's what they're doing. They're getting ahead of the curve. You haven't heard that most of these people have invested in cryptocurrency infrastructure. But they know that this is going to make them boatloads of money over the next 100 years. And that's why they're getting into it. That's why Grayscale owns so much. That's why they're issuing stocks and shares. SpaceX, Tesla. So this is something that needs to be said to Dave Ramsey. I'm not saying that you need to go all in on cryptocurrency. It's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that you don't need to bash it because you're doing people a big disservice. This is the most incredible appreciating asset of the past 10 years. By far. Just crypto in general. If you built a solid portfolio with projects that were solid, the amount of money that you would be up, if you had invested the same amount, is probably a factor of 100x over the past 10 years, or 1,000x compared to getting in the stock market. So, have you guys heard of the rule of 72, right? How long will it take to double my money? So what you do is take 72 and you divide by your expected investment return. So if your savings account earns 8% per year, 72 divided by 8 will take you 9 years to double your money. Okay? So how long is it going to take? How long would it take Bitcoin just on average? 72 divided by 1.5. Yeah. Oh, no. 72 divided by 15. Yeah. About a quarter. So they say one thing. Have you guys seen that meme with the movie Interstellar? It says 1 year here is equal to 8 years up there due to gravity. You know, time speeds up with higher amounts of gravity, or slows down depending on where you are. It's the same thing in the crypto world. 1 year in crypto is probably worth about 7 in the standard financial system, stock market, etc. So the reason that I make this channel is to let people know what's going on here. Annualized return, 2010, S&P 500, 15%, 2.1%, 16, 32, 13.7, 1.4, 12, 21.8. You lost 4.4% in 2018, gained 31.5 in 2019, 18.4 in 2020. So, you know, if you're just kind of taking a look at this, eyeballing it, like I said, about 10%, 8 to 12% maybe. And that's how it's been for the past 50 years. What type of returns does BTC have? 6.5 million X or percent X. Yeah, 6.5 million X. Cardano. What about this time last year? I say this all the time in the channel. If you'd purchased Cardano in March of 2020, how much money would you have right now? Well, you'd probably have about 100 and, what is it, between 100 and 120x your money right now if you invested in that. BTC is the same as Bitcoin. Typo. Ethereum went up 14,000x. Solana, Link, even Grayscale. If you want to invest in Bitcoin and you want to use the traditional means to do so, Grayscale is something to look into. Can you name a coin that hasn't outperformed the S&P 500 over the past 10 years? Probably be top 100 coin, a major project? No, I don't think you can. Now, I'm just shooting from the hip here, but I can't think anything off the top of my head unless it was just a straight-up rug pull. So, summary, the amount of good that Dave Ramsey has done will not be easily accomplished by most people. The thing that I like about Dave Ramsey has been able to build a thriving business not at the expense of his customers, right? So a lot of big business these days, this is a mature capitalist society. You know, in order for capitalism to succeed and win in the long run, you got to have morals entrenched in the decision makers who run these big companies, or you have to have a very good system of checks and balances, governmental system that doesn't overstep its bounds. And that's sometimes pretty difficult. You'd have to have a combination of both. So a lot of times these customers really get screwed because they're just trying to squeeze every possible dollar out of people. But Dave, you know, the amount of ROI for purchasing some of his books or programs based on how much money that these people have made is great. So he's done a very, very good job. The question now becomes, in terms of Bitcoin, at what point should he change his tune? He needs to change his tune right now. They need to open their eyes. They need to stop telling people that you can't pull Bitcoin out. You know, it's not going to be there in the morning. This and that. Now, to give him credit here, I should have checked the date of that. I should have, but I didn't check the date of that video. What if Dave Ramsey told every single one of his supporters to buy $1,000 worth of Pulse on the day of Pulse launch? What do you think would happen? I think Jesus would give him a high five. Because on top of all the good that he's done already, there's going to be a lot of happy people. $1,000 turns into $100,000. $1,000 turns into $1 million. Lots of happy people. So overall, folks, I'm glad to be back. I'm going to start making some more videos here. Come check us out in our Telegram channel. We got about 320 or 350 people. I really enjoy kicking people who promote rug pulls. So if that's you, I will gladly ban you very quickly. Now, remember what I said. You are allowed to comment. You are not allowed to subscribe or like my videos. You can dislike them, and you can comment, but you can only comment with the answer to that riddle at the beginning. If you guys have any questions or concerns, let me know. Rags to Riches is back.